I want you to stop for a second and think about what it takes to be truly wealthy. Is it a high paying job, a genius IQ, or just getting lucky with the lottery? What if I told you that the answer has nothing to do with any of that? Hi everyone, welcome back to wiseelephant.finance. You know, there are some books that don't just give you information, they completely change how you see the world. For me, that book is Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money. It's been a smash hit and it's no surprise. This book isn't a list of investment strategies. It's a collection of powerful stories that reveal timeless truths about money and human nature. The truth is, money isn't as logical as we have been led to believe.
What?
It's driven by emotion, history, and our own messy human psychology. This video is my guide to the most powerful lessons I learned from this book that helped me think about money and others from a completely new perspective. Nobody is crazy. Your personal experiences with money make up maybe 0.0000001% of what's happened in the world, but maybe 80% of how you think the world works. My first big takeaway is a lesson in empathy. It might seem like some people do crazy things with money. Someone spends a fortune on a lottery ticket while another person keeps their life savings in a shoebox under the bed. It can feel irrational. Truth is that nobody is crazy. We all have a unique mental model of the world shaped by our own personal experiences. If you lived through a major financial crisis or maybe a few of them in your lifetime, you'll probably be more conservative with your money. But if you grew up during a boom, you will feel more confident about investing. What looks crazy to you may make perfect sense to someone else based on their life experiences, where and when they were born, and the lessons they learned along the way. Your financial worldview is shaped by what you have personally experienced, even if that's a tiny fraction of what's happened in the world. So when you see someone making a choice that you don't understand, remember that their actions make sense to them in that moment. Your two financial superpowers. $81.5 billion of Warren Buffett's $84.5 billion net worth came after his 65th birthday. Our minds are not built to handle such absurdities. Forget about trying to find the next big stock or timing the market. The two most powerful tools you have to build wealth are already in your possession: your time and your ability to save. Let's take Ronald Reed, a janitor from rural Vermont. For decades, he lived in a quiet, humble life, working a simple job and driving a used car. When he passed away, his community was shocked to discover that the seemingly ordinary man had secretly amassed an $8 million fortune. He didn't inherit it, he didn't win the lottery, and he didn't have a Wall Street job. All he did was save consistently and invest in simple, reliable stocks for decades. His story proves that your success with money isn't about how smart you are, but about how you behave. And so financial success is a soft skill. And then, of course, there is Warren Buffett. We all know he's one of the greatest investors of all time. But his real secret isn't that he's a genius. It's that he has been investing for over 75 years. Almost all of his multi-billion-dollar fortune was made after he turned 50. As Housel puts it, few pay enough attention to the simplest fact. Buffett's fortune isn't due to just being a good investor, but being a good investor since he was literally a child. And so Housel says the most important book about investing should be called Shut Up and Wait. It's funny, but it's so true. The secret to long-term wealth isn't about earning the highest returns, but it's about consistently earning decent returns for a very long time. The key is to start early and simply not quit. If you would like to learn more about compounding, please do check out our detailed video on compounding and how it can literally change your life. The role of luck and risk. Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. We love success stories that attribute everything to hard work and brilliance, but we often ignore the role of luck. Housel explains the story of Bill Gates, who was one of the very few high school students in the entire world to have access to a computer in the late 1960s. He was smart and worked hard, but he also had a 1 in a billion head start. By contrast, the story of Kent Evans, a high school friend of Gates, who was just as talented but died in a mountaineering accident. It reminds us of the twin forces of luck and risk. You can work as hard as you want, but you also have to accept that external factors can shape your outcome. The price of the ticket. Everything has a price, but not all prices appear on labels. Investing can feel like a roller coaster. One day you're up, the next day you're down. It's easy to see these drops as a punishment, like a fine for doing something wrong. But the book argues that volatility is not a fine, it's a fee. It's a price you have to pay to get into the game. Think about it like this. If you want to get to the top of a mountain, you have to accept that there will be some tough terrain, some uncertainty, and maybe a few slips. You wouldn't expect a golden escalator to take you to the peak for free. The stock market is also the same. The emotional difficulty of the climb is just the price you have to pay for the amazing view at the top. Once you convince yourself that this fee is worth it, you'll stop trying to avoid the dips and start enjoying the ride. True wealth is what you don't see. Spending money to show people how much you have is the fastest way to have less money. Think about why people buy a fancy car. They think others will be impressed by them, but here is a secret. People aren't impressed by you. They're only impressed by the car itself. They're just imagining themselves driving it. They're only thinking about how they would feel owning the same thing. True wealth, Housel argues, is what you don't see. The savings and investments that give you freedom and security, not the showy purchases that impress no one as much as you think they do. Savings is the gap between your income and your ego. It's so easy to confuse being rich with being wealthy. Being rich is about the current income and the flashy things you own, the luxury car, the expensive watch, or that week at a lavish resort. It's what you see. True wealth is what you don't see. It's the money you didn't spend. It's your savings, quiet assets in your investment portfolio, and that emergency fund in the bank. It's the invisible assets and the quiet freedom that lets you wake up and do whatever you want. The paradox is that the only way to be truly wealthy is to not spend the money you have. It takes self-control and restraint. As Housel says, the diamonds, watches, and first-class upgrades that you decline all contribute to your overall wealth. The enough problem. When rich people do crazy things. Have you ever hit a financial goal only to immediately set a new bigger one? That's the hedonic treadmill. The never enough mindset is the constant urge to move the goalpost. As soon as we reach one goal, our desires reset and we start chasing the next one. It's a trap that can lead even the most successful people to ruin. The book shares a great anecdote about author Kurt Vonnegut telling his friend Joseph Heller in a party that a billionaire made more money in one day than Heller's entire career. Heller's perfect reply, I have something that he will never have. The knowledge that I have is enough. Another powerful example is Bernie Madoff, who was already a wildly successful financier. But the lure of getting even more money led him to create a fraudulent scheme that risked everything he had and eventually cost him his freedom, and he ended up in prison. So knowing when enough is a superpower. It means you stop risking what you have and need for things you don't have and you don't really need. It's the key to preserving your financial security and finding true happiness. So stop comparing yourself and stop chasing what others have and start building your own quiet empire, because it's a game that you can win. Save money. The only factor you can control generates one of the only things that matters. How wonderful. Most people save for a specific goal. A down payment on a house, a vacation, or a new car. But Housel suggests that you do not need a specific reason to save. Building wealth has little to do with your income or investment returns and lots to do with your savings rate. Saving is a hedge against the unexpected. It's a way of building a buffer for a world that loves to surprise you. You must always plan for the plan to not go according to the plan. The emergency fund or a small investment account can give you the freedom to weather a job loss, a medical crisis, or a market crash without losing everything. A lot of people work in jobs that they don't necessarily enjoy, but they keep showing up anyway because of their lifestyles, which are now tied to their paychecks. So by lowering your personal expense rate and by increasing your savings rate, it gives you more options and freedom to do things you truly enjoy doing. Savings for the sake of saving gives you the flexibility and control over your time, which is money's highest return on investment. The ultimate goal is freedom. Controlling your time is the highest dividend money pays. You might think the point of money is to buy fancy things. But Housel argues that the highest form of wealth isn't a new car or a big house. It's the ability to control your time. Money's real value is in the freedom it provides to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want. Saving money isn't just about growing a number. It's about buying your own independence. If you want to learn how to create that kind of freedom for yourself, check out my new video on passive income ideas. I'll link it in the description box below. Be reasonable, not rational. Aiming to be mostly reasonable works better than trying to be coldly rational. Now for the final, most important lesson. You're not a robot. We make decisions based on emotions, and that's okay. The book's final lesson is to be reasonable and not rational. A rational person might say that it's financially illogical to pay off a mortgage early because you can get a better return investing that money. But a reasonable person might pay it off anyway because it helps them sleep better at night. A good decision isn't always the one that maximizes your financial returns. It's the one that helps you sleep at night. The goal of money isn't to win a game of math. It's to win a game of life. And the ultimate prize is to have enough to live without constant stress. Your best financial plan is the one you can stick with for a very long time, even if it's not the mathematically optical one. Being reasonable is more realistic and gives you a better chance of success. So to conclude, money isn't just a numbers game. It's a game about your own behavior. It's about knowing your financial story, respecting the power of time, paying the price of the ticket, and knowing when enough is enough, and building a quiet wealth that no one else can see. The ultimate lesson of psychology of money is that a sound financial plan is less about what you do and more about who you are. The most powerful tool you have to build wealth isn't a spreadsheet. It's your behavior, your time, and humility. So I highly recommend reading the book for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to more Wise Elephant Insights. Stay wise. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.